Bandai just released 3 new big announcements for the rotation and block numbers system for One Piece card game. But don't worry if you are overwhelmed or confused, because that's why I released this video, to help you understand it in an easy way. Before we start, if you want to have a general idea about rotation and block number system, please check first this video that I made and then proceed with this one afterwards. So first announcement that they did is a wall of text about the regulations, but basically for the standard players the most important information is that Bandai messed up, and you can see it here in details at the bottom of the website, that in Premium Booster, so PRB2 expansion that we will have in the July 26th, but in Japan, in Asia version of the game, the release date is for Asia region, they messed up, and for the cards that they are reprinting from block number 1, they wanted to reprint them as they promised with the new block number to make them legal after the rotation comes into place on April 2026. But they mess up. I don't know what they did, but instead of printing number 4 on them, so it's clear for everyone that they are still legal to use after rotation comes, they reprinted them with number 1. That's why they need to make the list so everyone is aligned and aware, hey, we actually wanted to reprint these cards and make them legal after the rotation, because after the first rotation all the cards from the block number 1 will rotate out, except for the ones with the reprints. And before we proceed to these cards, some reminder here that previously they already revealed that any card that has a manga version will be forever legal in standard. So I suppose they want to protect the value of the cards this way for the collectors, because in other card games, when the cards rotate out from the standard play, they most often lose the value. So here they are ensuring the collectors, investors alike, that hey, your manga cards will keep the value regardless how far the game will go. And here we have big list of manga cards, and you can even see that they use the name block icon X because they don't know how many blocks they will have. And here short reminder, more details in the previous video, but just as a reminder, as you can see, for example, Tony Chopper from expansion EB01 had the manga version, so it means that all the versions of this card will be forever legal in standard, and it goes on. Then we have EB02 Luffy, the Nami that has a lot of prints, money making card, then Shanks from OP01 as well. Then we have Ace that had the manga, Sogeking, so nice history for you for free in this video, Sabo, then Low, and each of these versions, because the card number is the same as the manga one, they legal in standard. Obviously Nika Luffy or Gear 5 Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and with Sanji it's actually only SP version, which is interesting because they call them like super parallel, so it seems that they want to keep the Sanji as well. Here Boa with the manga, Riley, and then we have Shanks, Buggy of course, Blackbeard, Goldie Roger, our Luffy, the Low, most recent Luffy, and already released in Asia region, Jewelry Bonnie, that is OP12 manga card. If you want to avoid some spoilers, don't look at the background scenes, especially if you are anime only watcher. But this was already known information, no questions here. What we are interested in is the list of the cards that are from the block number 1, but they wanted to reprint them with block icon 4, which they didn't. And I think it can give us some hints what cards do they want to keep as staple for the archetype. So let's just go one by one so you can memorize them better and have an idea in which way each color will be going or which cards Bandai likes to keep as staples. So starting off with OP01 healer, that is uncommon in green, simple blocker and really nice effect if you have 3 or more characters on board during the block and you have done a touch, draw 1 card. Nice choice here, I think, because it's Supernova Kit Pirates, so at the start of the game the green was mostly Kit leader that was resolving around those archetypes. Now we had some evolution in green, moving into Bonnie, now in OP12 green Zoro, but Supernova Kit Pirates archetype is still there, especially in green yellow low, so it's nice to see that Bandai thinks that it might be the staple to stay, and it's a very good reason for, because I saw this card being played from the day 1. Then we have another green card, that is You Can Be My Samurai, simple 1-cost event card. You need to rest 2 of your characters to draw 2 cards. So nice engine here in some decks, if I remember correctly, in Perona, but also some players play it in the Yamato back in the day. Also useful type, that is Land of Wano in green color, so you can use some combos, especially if you combine it with your searchers like Momonosuke and Otama, if I remember correctly. So nice to see a draw engine being kept in green. Moving on, one of the cards that was banned or limited to 1, I don't remember anymore, and only in the Western meta, that is Carly Dadan. As a Zoro player, I know this card very, very good. Good old days of the Zoro, not the animal one, but the classic one. Winnie, Zoro and Dadan was a powerful engine because it was a 2-cost searcher that replaced itself and was really easy to buff due to 3000 power stat line. Now Zoro is transitioning more into Rayleigh, I think, in OP12, and it's good to see that Bandai wants to keep this go white Winnie strategy in red color. So excited to see what the future brings, especially that I think the design of Rayleigh complements this strategy really nicely. In the next event, this we will see across all the colors that they keep the 0-cost events. I think it's a good choice. There is no point to reprinting any new 0-cost events. Those are really good to clear your bricks from hand regardless of the color. So in blue we will have you trash 1 additional card. One of your leader or characters gains plus 3000 power during this battle, and obviously depending on the color we have some useful trigger. Here we can return 1 character with a cost 2 or less to the owner's hand, and we will see similar events across the board, but because I think they go in order of the expansions, now the next highlighted card is Buggy. Buggy is also a great card for the red Winnie strategy, like I already said, by Curly Dadan, and release of Buggy was very exciting back in a day in OP03 for every Zoro player. Powerful searcher, additional flavor that he can't be KO'd by / attribute cards, and 3000 power, so basically vanilla statline that is really easy to buff, and because it's a 1-cost you can pair him nicely with Makino, so it's good to see we keep this Winnie strategy with one of the strongest 1-cost characters in the game. Next we have some blue addition, 2k counter Kaya. So blue is known from drawing, filtering the cards. So simple effect, on play draw 2, trash 2, play it in many decks to shape your hand to your likings if you include blue. Most notably Blue Nami. I'm not sure how much Blue Nami do they want to see in the future, one of the decks that has the key card still on the ban list, that is Kabaji, but let's see how it goes, because another blue card is also Nojiko. That was one of the main threats of the Nami as well, and you see on play if your leader is Nami. So we have blue Nami, but we have also blue-yellow Nami. So let's see, maybe they want to release more Nami leaders in the future and have access to the big sister. And next, like I said, we have zero cost event, effect the same, plus 3000 power if you trash additional card with it, a different trigger because we are in purple identity, add up to 1 Dawn cards from your Dawn deck and set it as active, so simple ramp if you hit it early in the game and you are playing purple color, then it might be backbreaking for your opponent. So nice to see this simple card being kept. Then another zero cost, this time in black, effect the same, trigger, draw 1 card and kill one of your opponent's characters with a cost 1 or less. So nice counter for these Winnie strategies, and also additional draw if you don't have maybe something to trash for this card in hand, then you can just cycle through your deck a bit. So really nice to see 6 King Pistol kept, and this is one of the cards with interesting CP9 type that is important for any CP9 leaders and the engine overall. Because in black we mostly saw Navy or CP archetypes, then addition of a Blackbeard Pirates. So let's see how it shapes in the future with this one being so-called staple. And then one of my favorite counter events in red identity, same effect as the other zero cost events, but really powerful trigger, give one of your opponent's leader or character cards minus 3000 power during this turn. And with the red deck that we take a lot of life early on, if one of our last lives is this card, it can be really back-breaking trigger for free, because basically we have the effect of the card for the cost of trashing 1 card from the trigger. So we save 1 card in hand, and if opponent plays some characters or a leader that can restand himself, the minus 3000 power debuff stays for a turn. So really powerful red card with Alabasta and Straw Hat Crew type that is really important in red, stays in rotation. Then we have Ideo, and here I think they want to keep the Dressrosa archetype live in black. Not too many impactful cards, I would say, for this archetype yet, or at least not something meta defining, but having access to jump blocker for 2 costs is really good for the future of the game. So let's see if Ideo will see more play maybe in some future releases of Dressrosa support. Until now it was only Rebecca and Usopp, if I remember correctly, so not much spotlight for this card yet. And then a similar story here with the Dressrosa stage. This is interesting because both leaders that are related to Dressrosa they released that were somehow played in the meta. One was back in the day Rebecca blue-black, and then another blue-black combination of the Usopp. We know the combination of the colors is really strong, so it was really smart to make them kind of Dressrosa locked. So obviously in the future, if you want to continue the archetype, you need to have some foundation kept, and Colosseum is really good example of that, because if your leader is Dressrosa, so already locked to the Dressrosa type leaders, Dressrosa type characters can attack characters on the turn in which they are played. So pseudo rush, but only for controlling the board, so very matching to black color identity in the game. So I'm really interested how this archetype will go on moving forward. And then we have another of big cards from the start of the game. Back in the starter deck 01 2 cost Brook, we still see play of the Brook. And a red deck that is utilizing a Straw Hat engine plays this card, and we even saw Brook in the Rayleigh as an additional 2k counter and also target for the Luffy because it's 3000 power character. that basically refunds himself, and we can have some more interesting combos, but more about it in the Rayleigh deck guide. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But what is important here, that we have really packed card that I can say for sure will be a staple for a lot of red decks in the future, especially if we keep Straw Hat Crew archetypes in red, because 2k counter, first of all, 2 cost, but it's not even 2 cost, because on play effect, this 2 rested Dawn that we pay for Brook, we can attach to our leader or one of our characters. So nice recycling of the Dawn for any red leader. And next we are back in green, another flashback. We have Bonnie from the starter deck 02 that was dedicated to the kit, but then obviously Bonnie took the place of the kit as a main green leader, and also we saw this card being played in a lot of mixed colors leaders back in a day. Red green low, for example, so the card for sure can be called a staple, and it's understandable that Bandai wants to keep this card alive. Design is great, huge potential for any parallel arts, and the archetype of Supernova and Bonnie Pirates opens a lot of possibilities, and the thing that Bonnie can search for Bonnie itself is huge. And lastly we have Hina. Hina was interesting discovery back in a day, because now when we hear Rebecca Hina Lucci combo or RHL, most of the players knows what's up, but back in the Sakazuki day it was huge discovery that in the starter deck 06 we had this common card that for mere free Dawn comes into play with already vanilla statline, but also on play gives one of our opponent characters -4 cost during this turn, and the Navy archetype. And back in a day Navy was the foundation for the black color identity, so it was huge discovery that you can do Rebecca to bring back Hina and then play Lucci on 8 Dawn turn to basically wipe anything from your opponent's board. For sure staple. I hope we see some good reprints of her. I think we already have some nice parallel art, or maybe it was not this Hina, because normally we would see it here, I suppose. Nonetheless, very important card for the black color, so let's see how it goes in the future, because by keeping this card, Bandai gives us the information that they really want to keep black as the removal color, huge cost reduction, and just wiping the board clear in Navy style. And the last announcement is basically repetition of what we already know, just with small updates to the block icon revision. I already explained this in the previous video, but here we have the updates regarding the block icon revision. So basically reminder that all the manga cards will be forever playable. There are some updates that they messed up, but I think they want to keep all the information in one thread, because you see here going on you have still the previous information, when the rotation will start, which block numbers will be legal. If you like to read about it, just visit the official website of the One Piece card game, or watch my video where I explain the block numbers in detail and what it means for the future of the game, instead of going through the wall of text. And that's it for today. I hope it was a little bit easier for you to understand what Bandai wanted to communicate here and how the future of the game is going to shape up, especially once we have the sync release starting in April. We are at the same level as Asia region, so really excited to see all the innovation that West region can bring to the game when we are at the same level and not Asia being ahead. But now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this announcement? Do you agree that these cards should be reprinted with block number 4? And what do you think about keeping manga cards in rotation to protect the investors and collectors in a way? But that's it for today. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.